YouTube land. EdDB coming back to you. This is the 2nd of April 2017. Spring has sprung out here in the New York metro area. Beautiful day. Had a chance to go outside this morning and enjoy some of that. Also, it is opening day for baseball, Major League Baseball here in the United States. So things are looking up, but you might notice I'm still in my little apartment. That's kind of like the one downside. It's 7 months now I'm looking, and I am 57 years young now. So we've added another year since I've seen you last. I just want to say a little bit about my last video before I go on to my review of the Big 3 program. In my last vid, got some criticism, it was too long, and I agree. I probably could have put it into 3 parts, as some of you have suggested, but unfortunately, this video is probably going to be just as long. But guys, I got 6 months worth of stuff I got to talk about. Now, about that last video, quick follow-up. First of all, I'm amazed, first of all, at the number of views that it got and the amount of feedback I got on it. I just want to give a shout out to everybody and thank you for those of you who tried some of my recommendations and got back to me about it. It seems like Mike Matthews' book, Bigger, Leaner, Stronger, is a big hit. People who have got that thought it was as good as I said it was going to be. Also, some people have tried Chad Waterbury's High Frequency Training 2.0 program I haven't even seen yet. A few people came at me and said that was a really interesting recommendation. So very cool to hear about that. I have 2 guys are doing 5x5, so we got some good feedback on that. But the biggest encouragement to me was those of you guys who tried triceps torture. I got all double thumbs up, good reviews on that. Yeah, man, that's a great program for hitting your triceps if you've got to do it. I've got some before and after pictures from dudes, so gotta tell you what, YouTube land, there's some guys out there walking around with some bigger triceps now because they got onto the triceps torture program. So if that's something you need to do for yourself, try it out. Okay, the Big 3. This is what I've been doing the last 6+ months, a little over 6 months, and I want to do this review in 4 parts. First part will be an overview. Second part, some of my achievements during the program. Third part, some takeaways, reflections. I'll throw an Ender rant in there. And the fourth part, we're going to go over some of my gains and results in it. And then, of course, I will end the video about what I'm going to do next and just a little follow-up on some of the email correspondence I get. So, okay. Vue des Sons, Part 1, the overview. Quick definition of the Big 3. These refer to the Big 3 compound lifts, namely squats, bench presses, and deadlifts, that are involved in a free weight training program recommended by a majority of trainers in free weights for the foundational exercises to maximize muscle strength gains and muscle size gains. This is in free weights. I was asked why not include rows as the Big 4 or go Big 5 and include military presses as well. And yes, you can do that. There are programs that incorporate those in the compound lift exercises. So I went into this having 3 goals, and my first goal was basically just to learn the compound lifts and gym culture in general. As I mentioned in my previous video, this is the first time where the gym would become my primary place of workout, so there's a lot of machines that I needed to learn and stuff like that. Second of 3 goals was to gain some weight. I had been stuck at 139 pounds since I ended AX1 and continued doing CrossFit training for the last year, and was hoping that this program would help me put on some lean muscle mass to gain weight. And my third one would be to gain some strength and some size. Also, I did this program doing traditional bro splits, but I hired a trainer for reasons I went over in my last video. And the trainer originally, because they're expensive, I only took him for 2 days a week. Soon found out that that's a lot of work to put into 2 days. So my trainer took me for leg day, and also he took me for the bench press day, and then I did a 3rd day on my own, starting about 2.5 months in. And on my own, I just did back and biceps, the pull day. Also, though, at the time I started the Big 3, I also started a calisthenics program, had done some research online, found a great program I started doing. I started doing well. Folks who have seen my WordPress blog have seen some of the pics and some of the vids of my progress in calisthenics. However, about 2 months in, I realized that there was a conflict between the free weight training and the calisthenics training. I was basically overtraining, I was overworking myself, and therefore not getting the full benefit out of either program. So decided to stop the calisthenics for now and carry on with just the free weight Big 3 program for the remainder of the 6 months. Part 2, accomplissement, mes accomplishments. We found at first that my strength gains came fast and furious, and then they lessened over time. And my trainer was actually very surprised at how quickly I was increasing the weights in a lot of my exercises. I attribute that to all that great foundational work I did doing CrossFit through EnderEdFitness and other programs prior to the Big 3. Something that I found a little humorous is that in free weight training there are goals called personal records, PRs, and that is when you can do a 1 rep max with a higher weight, you've attained a new personal record. Kind of reminded me back in the Athlete X days, you know, when you would do some of the challenges and you try to beat yourself in the 400 challenge. So yeah, I kind of like that, a way to measure your progress against yourself. So my 1 PR, my 1 rep max in the squat came about 2.5 months in at 235 pounds. I have to say that I really don't go for PRs in squats. I do a lot of squat work, but not so much PRs just to see how much I can do. Bench presses. Those are my most difficult of the Big 3 exercises. I found that I maxed out about 3.5 months in at 175 pounds on the bench press. And just 2 weeks ago, we threw 180 on there, and my trainer counts it, but I don't. It was just such an ugly, an ugly press. So I'm sticking at the 175 as my max. That is, we found it during the bench press though that I have an imbalance, that my left my left arm is weaker than my right, and also with the dumbbell work, the isolation work, that became obvious. That's dangerous in free weight training. Imbalances are what can cause injuries in gym. So we've been working to straighten that out and strengthen out my left arm so that it can catch up some. Finally, the deadlift. We didn't start deadlifting until about 3 months in. My trainer feeling that it was important to assure the core, doing squats and other work before starting deadlifting. However, once I started deadlifting, I fell in love with it. It is my favorite of the 3 compounds, and I just did a PR of doubling my body weight at 295 pounds. Really excited about that, and I have a goal that by the end of April we're going to put 3 of the big plates on the end of each of the barbells, so I'll do a 315 pound deadlift. I do have a vid of me doing the previous one out there. We'll continue to put stuff on my WordPress blog as I improve and reach new PRs in those different things. I do track using strengthlevel.com, app that I've already mentioned. You put in your age, your height, and your weight, and you record your different achievements in different exercises, and it gives you a graph. Very happy to say in my deadlift that I have gone from an intermediate into the advanced range amongst my peers. So that's an achievement for me. I'm kind of proud of that. Okay, part 3, mes pensées, my thoughts, takeaways, reflections. So I went into the Big 3 optimistically, of course, that it would achieve the goals I wanted to. I did also, though, guys, realize it's a little sidetrack for me. It's an all public gym program. I like doing home gym work, so that, and that, you know, I had to put body weight work aside again. So anyway, but what I found though is that I quickly fell in love, a whole new world in fitness land, a whole new set of parameters and ways of doing things and working out. So here you have CrossFit, which is awesome, calisthenics and body weight work, which are awesome, and now free weight work. So what else is there? I want to know it all. You know, all the different aspects of fitness land kind of stuff. And I have this dream one day of being able to bring them all together into one great big wonderful program. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, I fell in love with the free weight work, and I took away 4 big lessons that probably wouldn't have gotten if I didn't do this. The first one was the difference between powerlifting, which is really heavy weights, short reps, long rests, versus bodybuilding, which is heavy, but not as heavy weights, and doing 8 to 12 reps per set with shorter rests in between sets kind of thing. So that was one thing. The second thing I learned was about deloading, that when you start doing heavy work like this every 6 to 8 weeks, you need to, for your body, your mind's sake, back off. Come down and reload, and build up again to a new level over the next 6 to 8 weeks. But deloading is important. So the third thing then is that mind-muscle connection. We hear about that, think the muscle when you're doing an exercise. So it just becomes so all the more real though when you're doing these compounds. For example, the squats. You're engaging, your quads and your hamstrings, your glutes, your lower back, your abs. You have to get your breathing right. You have to get your motion right. So you're tucking your hip flexors in at the right time, all that stuff. So just that mind-muscle connection becomes so important. And the discipline you learn over time doing these compound lifts, then as you go back to basic lifts like isolated arm curls, dumbbell curls and stuff like that, it just becomes such second nature to be thinking in terms of, form and keeping your arm straight, your elbow down, squeeze at the top, slow, eccentric, and then flex the triceps quick at the bottom before your next rep. So, just all around great for discipline. And fourth and final thing I learned about was the importance of your central nervous system when you're doing these big heavy workouts. So early on, I got off the hack squat machine and I was shaking like a leaf. And I'm like, to my trainer, what's this all about? Even though I'm scared inside, what's going on? So first of all, we had to determine that I had sufficiently eaten before my workout, and I eat well. So I did not have to do it being undernourished. So yeah, we learned that the central nervous system gives you signals when it's time to quit and or slow down. It's pretty much saying, hey, we're sending out all the signals we can to your motor neurons and getting those muscles to fire, and our process is getting a little overheated. So you might want to call it a day, and hey, we had a good time, come on back next week. So yeah, those are really good 4 lessons I've learned. Now, about injury. I want to talk about that a little bit because I went into this with an injury to my forearm. Talked about that in my last vid. Took 6 months to get over. Just recently can pick up a wrought iron frying pan now without feeling the searing pain. So that's finally healed. It took 6 months though, guys. That happened when I was moving and I caught a falling bookshelf. So none of my injuries so far have been gym related, thank goodness. But the other injury I want to talk about is me being el stupido. So over the holidays, at an event, I was feeling no pain, and someone obviously bigger and stronger than me challenged me to arm wrestle. And macho guy now, right? So I took the challenge. I held my own, even though I did lose. Where I really lost was the next day I woke up and I couldn't move my arm. Turns out that I have done some damage to the bicep tendon here. So since January 1st, I have not been able to do proper pull work. That's, back work and biceps work. Have not been able to. Just recently, my trainers, brought me to a place where I can do some neutral grip work. So I can do neutral grip pull-ups and easy bar curls, the T-bar row, and cable rows, but all neutral grip. So nothing. I haven't been able to go full on for them for over 3 months now. So that's a little frustrating. So guys, don't be stupid like me. You don't need to be macho. Stick to your gym work, do it right, do it well, don't get injured, don't get setbacks. Okay, finally we'll end this section with an ender rant. I do need to talk about juicing, and no, not the blender kind, the steroid kind. Heard that it was prevalent in the gym, assumed it was all clandestine and done amongst high school students and college students who sort of peer pressure need to be forced to do it. Turns out not to be the case. Turns out it's a lot more prevalent, prominent than I ever imagined. I was personally approached twice how it would help me in recovery and keeping lean and gaining muscle, all that good stuff. So you guys know me. I am a researcher, I'm a studier. This is certainly a topic that I've looked into. And I have determined for myself, will stay natural for the rest of my life, as far as I can help it. This is no judgment on people who decide to go the steroid route. If you need to do that, power to you. I would just ask you to get both sides of the story before you do. There are health risks there are dangers, and I recently learned that there is a dependency. There's somebody that I know who had to come off of steroids because it was affecting their health negatively. Not only did they lose the gains they made during being on steroids, but this gentleman insists that he had also reverted and lost some of the gains he had made, some of his natural gains prior to starting steroids. So decide if that's worth it for you. It's certainly not for me. And here's how I want to end this thing. So listen, I do a lot of email correspondence with a lot of people now because of this fitness, these vids that I've done. And if you send me pictures of yourself and in 3 months you turn from, someone of my size to someone who looks like they could model for GQ or do an underwear shoot or something like that, please don't tell me that you did it naturally. The lore is, if you suspect someone's done steroids, they've done steroids. I know too much to know how much natural muscle gain, if you gain more than a pound a month of muscle, yeah, just, guys, don't lie to me. Seriously, I'm not going to judge you if you decide to take the steroid route, but just don't pretend that you're natural when you're not. Rant over. Part 4, mes goals, my gains. I will first start off by talking about my weight gains, that my goal was to put on some muscle mass during the big 6-month period. I started off, as I said, at 139 pounds, and I am ending today at 148 pounds. That's been my average the past couple of weeks. So definitely have some weight gain. If you can do higher math, that's 9 pounds of weight that I've gained. In the course of gaining the weight, I did put on almost 2% body fat. Okay, so to do that, it wasn't due to a caloric intake at all. Found in the past that only put on body fat but not muscle. So instead, my trainer suggested that I stop conditioning. I drop my conditioning workouts from 3 a week to 2 a week. So I've done 2 HIIT workouts for the first couple months, and then having seen some positive results on that without putting on the body fat, I then dropped down the last couple months to just 1 conditioning workout a week, and that seems to have helped. Like I said, my body fat percent did go up, but if you do the math on this, that means that I've put on about 5 to 6 pounds of lean muscle mass over this 6-month period. That is so encouraging to me, guys, because not only am I achieving my goal of putting on muscle mass, but it indicates that I am right on par for the average lifter who's in their latter second year of lifting, the average of adding about a pound of muscle a month in a proper weight training program. So, man, I just love that, I'm a senior citizen in my late 50s now, but I'm able to stick with that average that, includes the whole 30, 40-year-old groups. So once again, we're I don't know if we're beating the odds here. I think it's more like we're just showing the science that, yeah, seniors can make gains too. So very encouraging to me on that level. I do want to say that now my goal is to be 155 lean mass pounds, so I'm going to continue with this effort until I get into my high 150s, at which point I'll add HIIT workouts back in, get my body fat percent down from the mid 12% back down to the mid 10%, so that the abs are a little more prominent. That's kind of that's my goal anyway. Okay, so I did mention strength gains. While they came fast and furious at first, tapered out over time, oppositely, size gains came more slowly. I didn't start noticing body changes until around the 3rd month, and then they seemed to actually increase as time went on. I was seeing more body changes and people noticing. A couple of people in the gym I'm friends with, would say, wow, man, look at your arms, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, once again, that's a reason, an encouragement for me to want to continue on with this big 3 training in some form or fashion, just seeing some good results there. I do track. If you follow my vlogs and my vids, you'll know that I track once a month. I take body measurements, and I highly recommend you guys do this. Also, I keep a photo log, because if you're like me at all, left to just the image in the mirror, I could look today and say, my goodness, have I done really any good here over the last year and a half? But when I see the measurement log, when I see the photo log, there's no denying that, yeah, I'm getting those positive body changes that I want and desire. So finally, here we go. Here's my measurements. Now, you would expect Makes sense that the bigger muscle groups are going to show the most increase, and that's what happened with me in my thighs, my glutes, and my upper back. The big muscle groups, they showed the most significant increase. My thighs each have at least an inch, more than an inch of increase in size over the 6-month period. Now, I don't have a cameraman, so I can't dip down. I'll step up on a chair. Now, no laughing, guys. I know for some of you guys this is no big deal because you're football players and you're naturally have legs, but for me, this here is something new. I never had the ability to flex before like that. Even though it's just small, it's significant for me because I've always been a slight guy. Even though I love to hike, I love to ski, and I did run some track in high school. Just being slight, my legs just never needed to be big to keep up with me. So that's something new, looking to add to that going forward. My upper torso almost got 2 inches around my upper torso, an increase there. That would be mostly from upper back work, some chest work. My chest is the hardest part for me, I feel, to develop. We'll talk about that in a minute. I'm hoping it's obvious to you guys that my shoulders have gotten some development now, that when I'm cold, I can see some delts. I don't have to have a pump on to see those, so that's kind of encouraging that they're there. And also my traps, I don't know how to flex this so well, but I do have some traps, in, definitely development there. That's cool. Talk about my arms a minute. Like I said, they've had to be neglected in a sense that not able to do the proper pull work for the last couple of months, but somehow, some way, probably due to doing push work and dips and all, I have broken that 14-inch mark on each of my arms. I clocked in at 14.2 on my right. Even I'm getting a permanent vein there. That's kind of cool. And my left, this is very painful to do, so I'm not gonna hold that too long. But yeah, getting a nice little peak there. Happy with that. 14 inches on the arms. Gonna try to downplay those. Get too much attention to these vanity muscles. Then finally, I will do a little chest show here. Like I said, this is my hardest muscle group I feel to get a... I don't even know how to flex well here. I always feel like such a dork when I flex, but anyway, so I'm seeing gains. I hope you can notice some too. It makes me want to go on and continue to see what more I can do. Let's wrap this vid. Que se passe-t-il après? What's up next for EnderEd? First, I want to apologize to my French-speaking friends for murdering the French language in this video. There is a reason I did that. I am visiting northern France at the end of April. I'm going to do a couple days in Paris and then go up to Normandy, Brittany, Loire Valley. So I've been practicing French phrases and trying to get some stuff down there. Once again, my apologies. Now, I figured that would be a good breaking point, that vacation, and deciding what to do next. As I mentioned, I definitely want to go on doing the major compound lifts, probably modify it up a little bit, talk about that in a minute. I want to give a shout out to an anonymously, a gentleman requested to be anonymous, a follower of mine that I've been email pen paling with, has gifted me the latest Athlean X Inferno programs, so I do have max size and max shred in my back pocket, which I'm dying to try. However, once again, being in my little apartment, I'm kind of waiting till I find a home and have a home gym before I do those. He did say, you know, please not to feel obligated to do them right away, so I'm going to take him up on that. And instead, I have a question for you guys. Because I tried to do calisthenics with free weight and found that they were a problem, I really would like to go the next 6 months and do a combination program with those two. So, not looking for ideas, I got ideas, but if any of you guys have already done that, integrated calisthenics work with free weight training work, please email me to give me some pointers, if you will, on how I can do that successfully so those two programs don't interfere with each other. That's kind of my goal for the next 6 months, where I think I'm going to go. But who knows? I might get a home like that and be able to do max shred or max size first thing out. So anyway, we're going to close now with the email follow-up. Please feel free to comment below. I appreciate your thumbs up. Guys, no idea that I would have gotten over 1,000 hits on that last vid. Honestly, thought my last vid was going to be my last one. It wasn't an Athlean X vid, so I figured no one would be interested, but obviously I was wrong about that. So I appreciate your thumbs up, your comments, your emails, always respond. So far I've been able to hold to that promise. Most popular question I got over the last 6 months are, Ender, I finished AX1 or I finished AX2. What should I do next? So I'm not going to tell you, but I do have some suggestions. I've done a lot of research and I do know some things about, depending on what your goals are, some suggestions I can make, and then you can decide what to do next. So there you go. That is the end of this video. I appreciate you coming, appreciate you sticking with me to the end, and I'm only wishing you the best. If you need help, encouragement to get on this fitness track, hit me up. I'd like to shoot down your excuses one by one. Join us, and once again, we'll say it. You got this. Peace out.